Hey y'all, Stacy here. I'm very excited to be sharing my Vintage Estates warmer watch with you. As a quick reminder, this is just the process that I take my warmers through to make sure that they meet my satisfaction standards within the 30-day satisfaction guarantee that Scentsy offers. Now, this is just based on my personal preference. It's not scientific at all. These are just my preferences. There's no guarantee that this is the way that the warmer will work in your home or that it should work this way. It's just what I'm looking for and hoping for when I take a look at my new warmer. Now, I do love how very open the back of this warmer is, so I feel like it's going to do a good job, hopefully, of letting scent escape. But it looks so complete. I love the details of this warmer, the little pumpkins at the bottom, the details on the house, the slats on the house, all the way around, even as we're looking at the chimney and the side panels. They're just very well detailed, I feel. I'm really pleased with kind of the overall look of the Vintage Estates warmer all the way to the back. And you see it's got that little notch out that I absolutely love. I think that's ideal for keeping your warmer nice and stable on the surface that you place it. I just do think these details are quite a step up, at least from the last Estates warmer. Now, I do want to show you this little hinge here. This warmer is designed, in my opinion, to sort of lock in place that top lid. So for me, I think that's another really great thing for an active household. We do have a 4-cube warmer dish that is clear that conceals the 25-watt bulb. Now, this does come with a clear bulb, and I'm going to just light it up really quickly so that you can see the clear bulb, but I'm going to be putting a different colored bulb in this one. Oh, it's beautiful though. It's very lovely. But for me, because those windows are open, I want to put a colored bulb in here because I just don't want a glaring light coming through in any angle. I don't think if you're, unless you're super light sensitive, like I am, that probably wouldn't bother a lot of folks. But for me, I just really do like to have a bit of diffusion between my eyeball and a light bulb. So, well, you guys, I've dropped it. There we go. Oh, let's see how well I can get this green light bulb in place now. This is a smaller little rectangular opening, and so the fact that I'm clumsy does not help, but I also do have larger hands, and I do think this would be a challenge for a lot of folks. I'm just using my index finger to make sure that the bulb kind of stays in place. And there we go. So put my little warmer dish on and light it up. That's much better to me from like an actual light perspective. Now, this is going to be the challenging part for me. This hinge that I love so much, this kind of very tight design that will keep this roof secure, has made it very challenging, in my opinion, to kind of get the angle right to put the roof back on. So it always takes me like 2 or 3 tries. Even just when I was first putting it together to put the clear light bulb in, I was like, are you kidding me? But so it does slip in securely. I have found by kind of holding the dish with the roof, you get a bit of an easier bit of leverage. And to me, that colored bulb just helps to take away any little pieces of glare that I might see as I'm walking past or sitting down in a space and then standing up in a space. But I do think the windows are so small that it's probably not going to be a problem for anyone else. You can see there, it really isn't overly complicated, but for me, it is something that takes a little bit of gentle kind of patience and time to make sure you get it seated properly. But I do think it's great that it's super secure. So if it gets bumped or knocked, it's unlikely to just kind of fall off. Now, to no surprise, I'm going to be using berry apple shortbread. I love this scent and I am excited to kind of continue to melt it. Now, for those of you that are new, I'm going to be putting a time lapse up with a little timer in the corner so we can watch this cube of wax melt. Now, the time lapse is not because I want to see how fast the wax cube melts, although that is kind of always fun. I do enjoy to see which warmer gets it done faster, but that's not something that I'm ultimately looking for from a satisfaction perspective. What I'm looking for is to make sure that inside the dish, the warmer does completely melt the cube of wax so that I'm not left with like little corners of wax that aren't melted. I also, at the very end of this process, am going to come back real time. And as soon as I see that wax pool is melted, I come back in and it'll be live at that time, no longer in time lapse, and just get a quick temperature read of what the wax pool is those very first few moments after the wax cube completely melted. Now, with most of my warmers, I do find that over the first hour to 2 hours, they'll get 5 to 10 degrees warmer and sometimes even more, but typically I would say somewhere around 5 to 10 degrees warmer. But for me, I get a really good understanding, I feel like, by just following this simple testing process. And once I get a warmer in place, I also periodically throughout the day, especially when I first placed it, come in and I will check the temperature of the wax pool. The reason that I do that is because there are other things that impact how well a warmer works, like airflow. Is it close to an area that gets warmer, then the warmer might run hotter than it did in my testing location. If it's right underneath an air duct or near a window, it might actually be cooler than it was here. So I just typically do periodic checks, especially when a warmer is new to me, and sometimes I play around with location of warmer based on that. I do typically find though that the metal house shaped warmers that I have from Scentsy are really pretty good at holding their temperature. I'm not always a huge fan of metal warmers, but I do find that they are really fairly consistent performers, and these adorable little house shapes really do get me. I feel like they have gone next level with their just design aesthetic in some of the metal warmers that are available. It used to be that metal warmers were primarily just kind of country pressed tin shapes, and a lot of those had a lot of air holes in them. And for me, I find that those style of metal warmers really do not hold temperature well. And so they stay at a much lower kind of temperature of the wax pool. And I have had a few of those that do not, which this is like the kiss of death for me with a warmer. I am definitely sending you to a garage sale if you leave a little corner of wax unmelted. That's just, it's like the cardinal sin for me of wax warmers, and there's no reason for it. It really, I have done so much research and I have tried to convince myself that it's okay, but the reality is it irritates me. Even though it doesn't impact throw, I just want the wax to be fully melted in the warmer. So if it can't do that, typically it does not stay in my home. I have the snowed in Christmas cottage house from the Christmas collection or the holiday collection last year. And when I saw this haunted, or what is it, Vintage Estates, this is called, but it looks sort of like a haunted house style. I immediately thought of the snowed in warmer. It looks similar. It's, of course, got a little bit of a design difference in the roof shape, but it's absolutely structurally very similar. And that snowed in warmer is a powerhouse for me. It is just a fantastic warmer. I have it in a high traffic area, and I actually plan on placing this warmer where I will place my snowed in warmer. So I'm hoping that this warmer will be the same kind of powerhouse that the snowed in warmer is. If you do see that one, I don't think it's scheduled to come back to the holiday collection, but if it does, it's a great one. And if you see it in clearance, I mean, of course, I can't guarantee that it'll be great for you, but I can just tell you that mine really holds its temperature well, and it lives in one of the most highly trafficked, largest airflow areas of my home, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful performer. So I'm really hopeful that that will be the case with this one. And I can tell you that the fragrance started throwing with this again in the first 5 minutes, which is pretty typical for all of my Scentsy warmers, and especially typical with this wonderful scent, which is berry apple shortbread. I feel like this throws quickly in almost any warmer. So it looks like we are almost there. That last little bit of sort of firm wax is melted away. So I think as soon as we can kind of firmly say that that is a clear wax pool, we'll stop the timer. Looks like right over 25 minutes. So 25 minutes, 17 seconds to get to this wax pool. Let's take a real quick look at the outside edge of the wax pool. So this is where I'd expect it to be the coolest. And it looks like the average around the outside edge is right at 143. That's really good, I think. And the hold is 148. Now let's go right through the center where the majority of the wax pool is and see. Yeah, it looks like our average in the center is right at 153. So that's excellent. Excellent, excellent. And those outside edges are right at 143, 145. I think this is going to continue to warm up without this metal house getting really hot, which is one thing that I super love. This definitely does have a big job ahead of it, but I think it's going to be up to the challenge. Very pleased with it. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so we could stay in touch. Be sure to take a look at my description box. If you don't have a Scentsy consultant and you're looking for one, I'm happy to help. And I'd love to hear in the comments below, do you have this warmer? What are your thoughts? Let me know.